He couldn't remember where he put the envelope. Then he forgot the name of his neighbor's daughter, someone he's known for 10 years. It didn't feel like a big deal, but it kept happening. Just little slips. The kind you can laugh off once, maybe twice. But then his heart started skipping at night. A flutter here, a pause there. He thought it was stress, or maybe the coffee. So he cut back, tried to sleep more, tried to do more crossword puzzles. But nothing really changed. He kept telling himself, this is probably just part of getting older. But somewhere deep down, he wasn't sure anymore. And none of it felt serious enough to bring up at a checkup. That's the tricky part. The brain and the heart don't always scream when they need help. They whisper. They slow down. They forget. And if we miss those whispers long enough, the body stops compensating. Most people don't realize how tightly linked memory and circulation are, or how often, after 65, the first signs of heart trouble show up in the mind. And the first signs of cognitive decline start in the bloodstream. It doesn't mean something's broken. It means something's being asked for. And if you felt just a bit off lately, mentally or physically, this next part may explain why. Because memory loss and heart flutter are rarely random. They're patterns. And they often trace back to 3 specific nutrients your body needs more of as you age, but gets less of. Let's take a closer look. Your brain doesn't just need thoughts. It needs fuel. And after 65, the delivery system for that fuel, the blood vessels, starts to change. They narrow, they stiffen, and most of all, they slow. This happens quietly. You won't feel it as pain, but you might feel it as fog, moments where words don't come as fast. A sentence you have to reread, or a name you almost remembered, and it's not because your brain stopped working. It's because your brain is working with less oxygen, less blood flow, and less of the nutrients it depends on to fire, protect, and reset. The same is true for your heart. Your heart doesn't just beat on its own forever. It needs magnesium to stay in rhythm. It needs omega-3s to keep blood flowing smoothly. It needs B12 to help build the insulation around nerves that help coordinate every contraction. The problem is, we stop absorbing these nutrients as easily with age, even if we eat the same foods, even if we're eating healthy. And unless those nutrients are replenished intentionally, the decline doesn't stop. It just gets quieter, until one day it feels normal to forget, normal to feel tired after reading, normal to lie awake with a fast, irregular heartbeat. But it's not normal. It's nutritional. And once you see that, you'll realize this isn't about reversing time. It's about giving your brain and heart what they're still asking for, just in a different form. Let's clear up the most common mistakes that keep people from doing exactly that. She thought forgetting the grocery list was just a fluke. Then she forgot the boiling kettle. Twice in 1 week. Still, she didn't panic. She just started writing more notes, more lists, setting more alarms. At the same time, her heart would beat harder when she lay down. Not faster, just heavier. She told herself it was because she wasn't walking enough. So she started walking more. But the fog didn't lift. The heaviness stayed. And the more she tried to push through it, the more exhausted she felt. Most people go through the same cycle, not because they're careless, but because they're missing the full picture. Here are 3 of the most common mistakes people make. When both memory and heart function begin to slip. Mistake 1, focusing only on blood pressure or cholesterol, without realizing that tiny nutrient deficiencies, like magnesium or B12, often show up first in memory slips or nighttime heart flutters. Mistake 2, trying to eat cleaner or lighter as they age, which sometimes leads to cutting out eggs, fish, and seeds, the very foods that carry the fats and vitamins their heart and brain need most. Mistake 3, assuming forgetfulness is a normal part of aging, so they wait for it to get worse before asking questions, instead of gently supporting the system while it's still asking for help. But here's the thing. The heart and brain don't need more willpower. They need the right kind of nourishment, consistently, and in forms the aging body can absorb. Let's look at 3 of the most proven senior-safe nutrients that can do exactly that. The body's most advanced systems, your heart and your brain, don't break down overnight. They wear down in silence. Not because of one bad habit. Not because of one skipped walk or sugary snack. But because their deepest needs start getting overlooked, especially after 65. It's not your fault. The grocery aisle isn't labeled for circulation or for memory. And many of the foods marketed as senior-friendly are actually too low in the fats, minerals, and vitamins that keep your systems alert and in sync. See, your brain doesn't make memories by itself. It relies on oxygen from your heart. And your heart doesn't keep time alone. It needs signals from your nervous system. They're a two-way street. And when one side slows down, the other does too. What's behind that slowdown? Usually, a quiet lack of three things. Magnesium, which supports rhythm and calm. Omega-3s, which keep blood flowing smoothly. And B12, which protects nerves and helps thoughts click. But here's the twist. Even if you're eating well, your body may not be absorbing these nutrients like it used to. Stomach acid changes. Digestion slows. And that means more slips in memory, more nights with restless heartbeats, and more confusion about why it's all happening. You don't need a supplement shelf or a perfect meal plan. You just need to know what to focus on and what swaps are gentle, senior-safe, and proven to help. Let's start with a mineral that helps both your memory and heartbeat slow down in the right way. He never used to notice his heartbeat. Now it shows up at night, when the house is quiet, when he's trying to fall asleep. It's not racing, just tapping harder than it should. And some nights it skips, just once, enough to make him hold his breath. He assumed it was anxiety, but it kept happening, even on calm days. Turns out the issue wasn't stress. It was magnesium. This quiet mineral helps regulate your heartbeat, keeping the rhythm smooth and steady. It also plays a key role in calming overactive nerve signals in the brain, especially the ones that make it harder to fall asleep, stay focused, or let go of worry. And as we age, we absorb less of it. Even worse, common meds like diuretics and antacids can drain magnesium faster than we can replenish it. One study from the Journal of Clinical Hypertension, 2018, found that adults over 60 with low magnesium levels were more likely to experience irregular heartbeats and trouble sleeping. Two symptoms many seniors chalk up to just aging. So what helps? Try this. A quarter cup of cooked spinach at dinner. It delivers about 150 milligrams of magnesium in a gentle, absorbable form without upsetting the stomach. Even better if it's steamed lightly with olive oil and garlic. If spinach is your thing, 1 tablespoon of pumpkin seeds before bed gives you about 170 milligrams, plus bonus tryptophan to support deeper rest. Start small. Track how your body responds for 1 week. And as that internal rhythm begins to smooth out, your brain will follow. Let's move to the second nutrient that makes that blood flow even easier, especially where memory matters most. She wasn't dizzy. She just felt slower. Reading took more effort. Her feet were cold even in socks. And sometimes when she stood up too fast, it felt like her brain took an extra second to load. Her doctor said everything looked fine, so she figured it was just age catching up. But inside her bloodstream, something else was happening. The vessels feeding her brain and limbs were getting stickier, less flexible, less able to deliver the oxygen and nutrients her heart was trying to send. This is where omega-3s come in. They don't just protect your heart. They help blood move gently, smoothly, especially to the brain. They make red blood cells more flexible, reduce small-scale inflammation inside arteries, and support the protective coating around nerves. In 2021, a study published in Neurology followed 2,183 adults over age 65. Those with higher blood levels of omega-3s had significantly better brain blood flow and fewer memory issues over a 6-year period, even without any major diet changes. So what helps? A single 3-ounce serving of wild salmon, about the size of your palm, gives you 1,500 milligrams of EPA and DHA, 2 brain-specific forms of omega, 3 your body can use right away. Not into fish? Try ground flaxseed. 1 tablespoon stirred into oatmeal gives you about 2,400 milligrams of ELA, a plant-based omega-3. It's gentler and still supports smoother blood flow over time. Add it in just twice a week. Notice if your thoughts feel a little clearer, or if your toes stay warmer without a blanket. Now, what about forgetfulness? Moments where names vanish or thoughts won't finish. That's often a signal from one final missing piece. The vitamin your nerves depend on to stay connected. He didn't feel confused, just a little behind. He'd start a sentence and forget where it was going. He'd go to the fridge and forget what he needed. Not every time, but often enough to notice. So he downloaded brain games, started writing more to-do lists, cut back on sugar. But still, something fell out of sync. He didn't need more apps or brain games. He needed insulation, real insulation, for his nerves. What no one told him was this: his brain might not be getting enough B12. Vitamin B12 isn't just a nice-to-have after 65. It's the spark plug for your nervous system, helping signals travel fast, clearly, and completely between brain and body. When B12 is low, signals stall, memory slips, focus drifts. Some even experience mood dips, irritability, or tingling in hands and feet, often mistaken for just aging. And here's the catch. Even if you eat meat or dairy, your ability to absorb B12 drops dramatically with age. Why? Because stomach acid, needed to extract B12, declines over time. A 2015 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that nearly 1 in 6 adults over 60 had clinically low B12 levels, many without knowing it. So what helps? One large egg gives you about 0.6 micrograms of B12, and it's one of the easiest forms to absorb. Soft-boiled or scrambled with a little olive oil in the morning is a gentle, senior-safe start. A weekly B12 lozenge, methylcobalamin 1,000 micrograms, under the tongue skips digestion altogether and gets absorbed directly into the bloodstream. No pills, no upset stomach. Try for 2 weeks. Track your sharpness. Even small boosts in B12 can make thoughts feel connected again. And when you supported your rhythm, your flow, and your spark, your heart and mind can finally work as one. Let's look at why this combination works so well, right down to the science. You don't need a lab coat to understand this. Your brain runs on signals. Your heart runs on rhythm, and both rely on flow. Magnesium helps your heart beat in time because it regulates the movement of calcium and potassium in your heart cells. Too little and the rhythm stumbles. Too much tension builds. And that same tension affects your nervous system, making it harder to rest, focus, or calm down. Omega-3s act like oil for your bloodstream. They keep blood smooth, arteries flexible, and reduce microinflammation inside vessels, especially the tiny ones that feed your brain. Better blood flow equals better oxygen equals better recall, clarity, and stability. And B12? It builds a protective casing around your nerves, called a myelin sheath. Think of it like the insulation on a wire. Without it, signals leak. And that shows up as lost words, delayed thoughts, or that sense that something's off. Now here's the key. These nutrients don't work in isolation. They build on each other. Magnesium helps nerves fire calmly. Omega-3 helps nutrients reach where they're needed. B12 makes sure the signals actually arrive, fast and complete. Together, they support the rhythm, the flow, and the connection your body has relied on for decades. Magnesium for rhythm. Omega-3 for flow. B12 for connection. And while aging changes the delivery system, you can still give it the right supplies. Not all at once. Not perfectly, but consistently. So, if you're wondering where to start, the answer depends on who you are and how your body's been asking for help. There's no one right way to protect your heart and memory, but there's a smart next step based on where you're starting from. If you're caring for yourself, don't aim for all 3 nutrients at once. Just pick the one that speaks loudest to your body right now. If sleep feels shallow or your heart skips at night, start with magnesium. If you feel slower on your feet or foggy in the morning, try omega-3. If names and words feel slippery, gently test B12. You don't have to track perfectly. Just notice. If you're a caregiver for someone you love, Start with food-based options they already enjoy. Eggs at breakfast. A spoonful of seeds in oatmeal. Avoid big pills or unfamiliar routines. Just small additions that feel familiar, not foreign. Let their body guide you. Let their stories tell you what's missing. If you're living with a chronic condition, less is more. Choose the gentlest form. Flax over fish. Cooked spinach over supplements. And always know how your body responds, not just physically, but mentally too. There's no prize for speed. This isn't a race. It's a restoration. And the best part? You can begin today, without waiting for symptoms to get worse. But how do you know when it's time to ask for more support? That's what we'll cover next. Most memory slips and heart flutters after 65 are harmless. They're your body tapping you on the shoulder, not pulling the fire alarm. But some patterns deserve more attention. If your heart skips beats and you feel dizzy, like the room tilts when you stand, pause. That could signal a circulation drop, not just a hydration issue. If forgetfulness starts coming with numbness, tingling, or hand weakness, especially on both sides, that may point to early nerve involvement. It's sometimes linked to low B12, but can also reflect deeper neurological strain. If memory loss comes on suddenly, or you notice slurred speech, facial drooping, or trouble finding words, that's not aging. That's a medical emergency. Call for help immediately. Also pay attention if you feel sharp fatigue after mild exertion, coldness in your hands or feet, or pressure in the chest when climbing stairs. These can be signs of slow blood flow, especially in those with diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart history. You don't need to fear every symptom, but you also don't need to wait until it gets bad enough. This video is for educational purposes only. It does not replace medical advice. Always speak to your healthcare provider. If symptoms persist, change suddenly, or feel unfamiliar, because your heart and brain don't break down overnight. They leave a breadcrumb trail. And when you follow those clues early, you get to keep more of what matters. Let's bring it all together. With actions you can start today, without pressure. Let's bring it all together. If your heart has been skipping beats, if your memory has felt a little slower lately, you're not alone. And no, you're not imagining it. These are real signals. And they often point back to what the body quietly needs more of, not another test, but smarter nourishment. We covered 3 senior-safe nutrients that help keep both your rhythm and your recall strong. Magnesium, for steadier heartbeats and calmer sleep. Omega-3, to keep blood flowing smoothly to the brain. B12, to help your thoughts stay connected and clear. You don't need all 3 at once. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin, gently, consistently. Try this. A few spoonfuls of cooked spinach with dinner. A sprinkle of flaxseed into breakfast twice a week. 1 soft-boiled egg in the morning. Start with the one that feels easiest. And simply notice. Notice how you feel after 3 days. After 7. After 14, the shift may be quiet, but so will the symptoms. Let's check in together. Have you felt more forgetful or foggy this month and last? Comment 1 if yes, so others can see they're not the only ones. Next in the series, a 3-ingredient brain tea that boosts circulation without caffeine, pills, or side effects. Gentle enough for afternoons. Strong enough to matter. And remember, your brain hasn't stopped working. Your heart hasn't given up. They're just asking you to listen. Let's give them what they've earned.